Blizzard fans, welcome back to another episode of the Cold Front Podcast. I'm Joey Bonadonna. That is BJ Steffen. We are back in studios here at Creative Edge, and it's been a while. Yeah. I feel like, no rest for the wicked. Is that the? But obviously, travel has been a big deal the last weekend to enjoy the bye week. I've joked over the last many years, the bye week has never synced up with something that I'm able to travel for. Or, my first week after graduation, we're on a bye. Let's go out to Jersey. Let's go to the IFL Cup. I went up to Boston. I got to stay in New York for a couple days. Obviously, we did DC. I remember that, having to record that virtually. So, getting to enjoy a little bit of our, the continental U.S., the great planet that we're in. But we have IFL football to discuss. We don't have a Blizzard game to recap, but we do have one to preview. We have a week of IFL Cup action. BJ, your thoughts on some of the action that went down in week 11?
Yeah, it was a good week. Obviously, it was nice having a bye week. Our guys really needed it. There were a couple good games. The Cup games were great, or the Arizona-Vegas game was pretty good. Orlando, New Mexico kind of went how everyone really expected.
Right.
But, it was back and forth. We saw both quarterbacks get to play. After Powell made a couple mistakes, Max came back in. Played pretty well, I thought, until right up to that end. Vegas kind of pulled ahead. Delora had his flu game moment where he was out for a little bit and then came back in and walked right back in. So
sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Vegas, they are a second half team, man.
Yes,
you drag them out to deep water, they will take them down. They will take you down with them. Obviously, there's only been one team that's been able to stay above water. That is Green Bay in week 1. But obviously, there is a lot more football to be played. Those two, as it stands right now in the standings at the midway point of the season, seem to be on a collision course for a rematch in Tucson. But as we said last week, knock on the nearest surface that sounds like wood. Obviously, a lot more to be played.
Yes, a lot more football.
You don't win championships in May. You win them in August. That mantra will continue until August comes around. But let's talk about the other news from this week. For Green Bay, this is bittersweet news. Andrew Carter getting called up to the UFL. His story and obviously the growth coming in last year in Green Bay has established himself as one of the top offensive linemen in the league. And he gets an opportunity to go to Birmingham in the UFL. You got to feel happy for him.
Yeah, I got to watch the game as we were driving back from Minnesota. He played a play, but he got mentioned out on the broadcast, which I thought was kind of cool. They scored a touchdown on that play. Yeah. So good luck to him. Their season ends within the next couple of weeks, so potentially we get to see him back here in a couple of weeks, hopefully, knock on wood. So, yeah, good for him. He gets a nice time outdoors, and hopefully we get to see him back indoors soon.
I mean, that is the goal of the league. It is a developmental league. This is a platform to be able to grow these young athletes' careers and to be able to just get to know them for however long it is. It could be 3 weeks or it could be 3 years or more. That is a blessing to be able to have the opportunity to see them come through Green Bay or wherever they are in this league. So Andrew, he was our first guest on the podcast. He was our first Talking Blizz, and it's so exciting to see him get his opportunity this weekend, and obviously what comes forward for the Stallions in the UFL. That's kind of the news for Green Bay side, because obviously they didn't play. We talked a little bit about the championship game of the IFL Cup. Vegas, the defending champions of the IFL. They continue and win the Cup, and they continue on to the 1 seed in the West.
Yep, 2 games ahead now.
Two games ahead. Green Bay, half-game separation on that 1 seed with Jacksonville. We'll talk about that schedule coming up, because obviously Jacksonville just keeps on winning.
Yep.
There really wasn't really much of a doubt this week, but it was just they keep on winning. They keep finding ways, and as it stands right now, because of the conference record right now, they technically control their destiny, but there is a lot still to be played. Still 2 matchups between Green Bay and Jacksonville, and those are weeks still away from now.
Yeah, we got 3 weeks until Jacksonville, because we San Antonio, Quad Cities, and then Jacksonville, and then we play them last game of the season at home, or in Jacksonville, which I think we've played them every year. Our last game of the season is always in Jacksonville, I think.
It feels like it, yeah.
So just how the schedule works out. But
yeah, so that obviously a collision course there. The 1-2 right now. Orlando getting a win in the consolation game of the IFL Cup. Fisher's trying to,
get back to winning.
Hold on to that playoff spot right now. But that's the look at the Eastern Conference. Let's jump around here a little bit, and let's talk about the matchup this week. Let's jump into our icebreaker with the San Antonio Gunslingers. This is a new matchup for Green Bay, the first time that they have matched up in the IFL. They have some familiar faces. Let's get a chance to check in with head coach of the San Antonio Gunslingers and Jonathan Bane. All right, we're here with Coach Jonathan Bane of the San Antonio Gunslingers for our icebreaker this week. Coach, welcome onto the show, and you have some experience in the indoor game. A quarterback, walk me through a little bit through your career before ending up as the head coach in San Antonio.
Yeah, we could go on for days, just for how long it went. It just, but it flew by at the same time. But started back in 2014, fresh out of college, out in Richmond, Virginia. Joined the PIFL, which is a really good league coming out. And I started realizing that the next following years after my rookie season, seeing all the PIFL guys kind of taking over the AFL at the time. But I went from had a few different stops to say the least, but really enjoyed my career. Full 10 years playing, probably would have played for 20 if I was physically able to. And just really enjoyed it though, man. And enjoyed what the, football being the vehicle and being able to reach, others that way and get to do what I love. Right. And I tried to take full advantage of it and get the most out of it. And I appreciated what it did for me in my life. And then also, leading to me getting a head coaching job, being done with ball in 2024, after the spinal cord injury. I didn't know what was next, and recovering from that, huge miracle. Big man upstairs definitely had his hand on me there, and now getting this job, right? Getting to be a head coach, and people always joked about me coaching and being a head coach and whatnot, because really my last probably 3 or 4 years, I was my own OC as a quarterback. Just kind of inherited that, just seeing a lot of the game and being a real student of the game. So. Schematically and stuff, it wasn't much of a shift, and then playing quarterback, right? Your natural set leader, you got to, help lead the locker room. So I think it's been a smooth transition. Of course, there's some growing pains and things I'm learning each and every day, just as I did as a player, though. But I love this part of it because you do get to, continue to grow and learn and, trial and error, right? You get to see what works, what don't work, and adapt and overcome. So blessed with a fun career and now loving the start of the coaching career.
You mentioned a little bit through your injury that you suffered that did end your playing career. Adversity, how have you imparted that on your players as they go through their journeys?
It's everything, man, and that's why I tell these guys it's so true, and it's cliche because every coach preaches it, but you learn so much about life and handling adversity, whether it be an injury or you get cut or whatever it may be. Losing in a championship game, I've done that 3 times, you know what I mean? But being able to handle adversity and overcome it, because I tell guys all the time, your body adversity's adversity, right? And there's a million ways adversity hits you in life, whether it be bills, whether it be a loss, whether it be a football injury, whatever it may be. And your body, you just fight or flight, is kind of the old saying I always refer back to. But yeah, overcoming that injury, back-to-back years, 2023, broke my neck, had a smooth surgery, was told probably not to play football again. And just recovered so well and thought, you're kidding me. I can still throw a ball. Let's go do it. And then 2024, actually suffering a spinal cord injury, slight rupture of the spinal cord really hindered my ability to walk. Man, it was a crazy, crazy deal. But, during that time, of course, my faith in God and believing he's the ultimate physician. But 2 was just referring back to all the things I learned that football taught me along the way, that I didn't really pay too close attention to until I was put in a predicament to where I had to, when you talk about fight or flight. So I don't try to bring up my story too much to these guys, but I do reiterate to them that they don't have to do what they're doing. They get to, right? It's a true blessing. You never know. I didn't wake up that Saturday morning and go play a game to think this is the last time I'll ever touch a football again, much less walk at the time. So just always reminding them daily, how blessed they are to get to do this and to take full advantage of every moment, because you just never know, and not to scare them either, right? It's football, but I want to reiterate, how special of a moment it is. They are getting to chase their dreams. And then now, of course, with the IFL doing so well and the broadcasting and the national television, I just want them to get the most out of this opportunity and be their best selves.
One story that we kind of just alluded to, but I wanted to dive into it a little further. 2020, you were going to be the starting quarterback of the Frisco Fighters. That would have been the season opener for Green Bay that year. However, a week before that game, which feels like an eternity ago, but it was 6 years ago now. COVID hits the world, and that season it goes into suspension, and eventually the rest isn't played. Walk me through that. You kind of just talked about you guys had a game the week before against Duke City.
Yeah, that was crazy, right? I was super excited to get out to Frisco, right? I always wanted to play back home. I'm a Texas boy, born and raised. All my family's down here, so I just wanted to be home. I was always way away, like way East Coast, up north. Spent college in South Dakota, so it's hard to just get family there. So I was like, what a great opportunity, and then also to get to play for the Clint Dalzell, one of the legends, all-time legend quarterback and coach, right? I think he's in the Hall of Fame in the AFL for both. So I, once again, kind of on my career, wanted to always seek the best I could possibly find to learn the most I can about this game. And it led me there, which was a really cool experience. But yeah, the COVID thing happened. We were super excited for that season, had a loaded roster. Coach Dalzell did a great job, putting that roster together, and we were fired up, ready to play. And it was funny. I'd mentioned we were getting taped for Duke City. We're at the arena, doing our little field walk and everything. And then we got the buzz that, the COVID was a big thing going, and they shut down the game. And then, of course, the season. But it's funny, in all my years of playing this game, I've never been to Green Bay. I've been to probably every stadium in the country, and I love what y'all do. I'm an arena fan, indoor fan. Even as a player, I'm watching every game across all platforms, and I love how y'all do it up there in Green Bay. The community really embraces the Blizzard, and the Blizzard have had nothing but tremendous success over the years. But I just know as a player how special that is for those guys to see the way y'all city rallies around them, and just the overall organization, man, top notch, and much respect for it.
Well, hey, you don't have to tell me. It's a football town, and on top of that, it's tradition. It's a long-standing franchise up here in Green Bay, and as you kind of alluded to it as we were talking before we hopped on and started recording. You're a lifer. You love the sport, and I'm looking forward to seeing your team up here in Green Bay. I appreciate your time this week, Coach, and best of luck this week.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Yeah, have a good one.
Appreciate Coach Bane for his time, and obviously new faces into the fold here in Green Bay. Gunslingers, this is year 3 in the league, so their first chance to square off with each other, but obviously some familiar faces. Mm-hmm. We do have a special guest to join the broadcast. This is a fun one. We've got Ravarius Rivers, the 2024 Defensive Player of the Year with the Green Bay Blizzard. He comes back to the Resch Center this weekend as a member of the Gunslingers. Got a chance to talk with Vi. All right, we got a special guest in here, former Green Bay Blizzard defensive back, now with the San Antonio Gunslingers, but always a part of the Blizzard family. Ravarius Rivers. Vi, welcome onto the show, man. Appreciate you taking some time. First off, what have the last couple of years been like? Obviously, 2024 was a special year in Green Bay, but your new chapter in San Antonio, and also you've had some opportunities to move up a little bit over the last couple of years.
First off, man, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure linking up with you, Joey. I'd like to say that the last couple of years have been very eventful. I've been very lucky to be able to continue my playing career, God willing, and all that stuff. San Antonio has been a great spot for me. It's been a nice culture. It's different from Green Bay, but different isn't always bad. So, just being able to see new things, see new parts of the country and stuff like that, and just continue playing. And just like you said, being able to move up to that next level after the 2024 season, signing with the UFL, with the showboats and stuff. It was a very good experience. I loved it. It was a great time. Then getting drafted again this past season to the UFL. Didn't work out the way I wanted it to during camp and stuff, but, through all the process of winning and failing, it's all part of the game. It's, I wasn't traded for anything. So.
Well, let's go back to that 2024 season. Obviously, it ends in the Eastern Conference Championship, but that was a big turning point for the Blizzard franchise, and obviously the team has had success over the last couple of years. But just walk me through that 2024 season. I know we got a chance to talk a little bit during that playoff run, but what are some of the memories that stick with you?
I guess the memories that stick with me would have to just be, the team camaraderie and stuff like that we had, just being a family and being able to all be on the same accord. And I think one of the things that set us apart that season was just setting a new standard, setting a standard to what's great and what's acceptable and what, we have to accomplish as a team versus, just being complacent about things. I think we did a great job of being able to command each other in a way that built team success versus individual success. I think all the plays that I made, was for the team, and the plays that the other guys were making were for the team as well. And the individual awards came just because of that. But, I think the team success was the number one thing that we were chasing.
We got a chance to talk with Coach Bane as well. What have you seen over these 2 years in San Antonio? Again, a new chapter. But what have you seen with your new group in San Antonio?
Very talented group. There's a bunch of talent out here. I think we do a good job as well as, being a great family, a nice close-knit unit. I think it's just a few niche things that we have to kind of fix and clean up, being consistent on a down-by-down basis and not allowing the pressure moments to win, winning those high-stake moments and just doing what we've been doing our whole lives, which is, making plays and having fun out there on the field.
Vi, and also you're out on the in the West. You do have some matchups with the Eastern Conference as well this season, just the nature of where you are on the map. But it's a different conference out in the West. What are the differences you've seen in now having to get into play in both?
Man, that's a great question. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to come to the West. After winning the Defensive Player of the Year award in the East, a lot of the clapback I was getting from, players and even some coaches was like, oh, man, that's the East, come out here and do it in the West. Let's see you make plays in the West and stuff like that. And, I think I have. I think I've been able to hold my own and even dominate, in the same capacity that I was in Green Bay. But I think one of the biggest differences would be the offensive schemes, though. I think the offensive schemes in the East are more so they run a fewer amount of plays, but they're better at the plays that they're running. They kind of know what they're going to do, and they're good at doing it. I think in the West, they might open up the playbook a little bit more in terms of the offenses and stuff like that and some of the stuff they try to do. But, sometimes less is more in a sense. So, you just got to give and take. And I think just film study is more of a bigger thing here, getting that film down and making sure you know what you're doing and how you're going to play those routes and different types of schemes that these offense coordinators want to do.
Well, awesome, Vi. Well, we appreciate your time. It's been so fun to see your growth between Green Bay and now in San Antonio and your stops in the UFL, and super proud of seeing your journey and looking forward to welcoming you back to the Resch Center this week.
Absolutely, man. I can't wait. See you then.
Appreciate the Gunslingers for their time. This is a crucial one, I feel like, for both teams coming out of the bye week for Green Bay. This is an opportunity to set into motion, an opportunity to clinch a playoff spot over the next couple of weeks. We will keep tabs on that as the next couple of games go along. But for San Antonio, they're holding on to that 4 spot in the Western Conference. This is a huge opportunity for a statement win against the top team in the East. That defense, they continue to keep their team in games. Can the offense come along a little bit? We will talk about that, though, in our blueprint. Is an opportunity, though. We're going to finally have an opportunity to talk to a member of the Green Bay Blizzard, and we're going to talk with Tevaughn Grant for our Talking Blizz this week. Got a chance to talk with T. All right, we're here with Blizzard defensive lineman Tevaughn Grant. Tevaughn, stop me if you heard this one before. This defensive line, heart and soul of the team. Also on top of it, former Panther. Feel like we've gotten a chance to talk with everyone at this point, but getting a chance to talk with you. What do you take from being part of this defensive line and then also the camaraderie of this group that's come into the team with obviously a lot of players playing together in Bay Area last couple seasons?
Well, Joey, thanks for having me on. It's been a blessing, man, truly. We got such a sharp unit, such a like-minded unit. We all working as a collective to get to the same end goal in this league here, and that's winning the championship and elevating beyond. Just taking all the knowledge that I've amassed throughout my career and the standards that we've set from like Bay Area as a defensive line unit, bringing it over here to Green Bay and just having a bunch of dogs with me, man. It's been special.
You mentioned championship mentality. We're over halfway through the season now here in Green Bay, so throw everything else out the window. This is an identity of this team here in Green Bay. What do you take from the championship goals, and what does this team have different?
I think the biggest takeaway is taking it one day at a time. We go 1-0 in everything we do. That's what we're doing in practice, whether it's inside run, and we just win those periods. And ultimately that builds on the entirety of that championship DNA, that championship caliber, taking it one step at a time. We're not looking too far ahead. We're not worried about what's going on behind if it's not about reflecting, learning, and what we could do to get better, and then just staying present in the moment.
And tell me a little bit about yourself and your journey to where you are to now in your professional career. When did you know that football was going to be a part of your story?
It started for me in high school. Blessed to have the people that I've been able to grow up with and show me the love of the game and what it could do for you and for your family and your community. So it started for me in high school, and I just elevated through there.
And before we wrap things up here quickly, what is one fun fact about you you'd like to share with Blizzard Nation?
Blizzard Nation, good fun fact for me is I was born and raised in Jamaica. Don't let the accent fool you, so somebody can turn on you and turn off you anytime you want. That's a good one for you.
There you go. That's a perfect one. So we appreciate you, Tevaughn. Short and sweet here, but appreciate you taking some time here before practice, and best of luck this week in San Antonio.
Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate Tevaughn. I can't believe it's been this long. I was going through the list. All right, who obviously there's someone new we got to get a chance with, and I'm like, Tevaughn Grant, a captain, a guy that is obviously a huge focal point of what this team has done this year, and had a big game against Tulsa as well a couple weeks ago. Your thoughts on Tevaughn this season? Obviously, we talked about last week, you could pick anyone up along that defensive line. Allen Henry, Jonathan Ross is another guy that should be all league this year. Tevaughn Grant, again, right there with them.
Yeah, this D-line's just been really solid. Obviously, it looks significantly better after the Tulsa game. They had a lot of issues on the O-line, but we took full advantage. I think both of our offense and defensive lines have just been doing fantastic this year. But like you mentioned, Tevaughn Grant's just another piece in that D-line that you put anyone in there, it seems like anyone's going to do really well, but he's taken it to the next level. And we just look great on the D-line.
Exciting to see him get back healthy as well into the fold officially. Finally getting a chance to talk with T. We do have 6 more games to talk about for our forecast this week. Back into the full swing of things. You kind of get the Memorial Day bye weeks. 4th of July, the Blizzard won't be off for 4th of July, but there will be another one of these where it's like, all right, this is a light week coming up, 4th of July weekend, just kind of, the nature of how the schedule works.
Yep.
But we do have a full slate this week. Let's start with Tulsa and Iowa, the bottom 2 teams in the East, but one of those teams they don't quite feel like they should be in that situation.
Yeah, Tulsa's been blow for basically every team they've played. They were right up with us up until literally the last couple seconds of the game. And yeah, it really feels like they should be in the playoffs right now at maybe the 3 or the 4 seed. And right now they're at 6 and trying just to get back up. Quad City's just, I think, a game above them. Fisher's a couple games ahead. So they got to start pulling wins. They play Iowa this week. Should be nice to get on a 2-game win streak after the win against San Antonio, and hopefully to maybe work themselves back up into a playoff position where they were last year.
Coach Andre Cole's making his return to Tulsa. That could be interesting. I will go with the Oilers here. You're going with the Oilers as well?
Yeah.
All right. So Fishers against Jacksonville. This is a big one in the Eastern Conference. The Sharks went into Fishers a few weeks ago and controlled the fourth quarter and dominated. Looked like final score looks worse than what that game was. That was a close game in the third, but Jacksonville completely dominated the fourth. Now the Freight have an opportunity to exact revenge going down to Jacksonville. Where are you here?
I'm going with Jacksonville still. I think they've been really competitive this year, right? They're only one loss, and that was to Vegas. They've beaten everyone they've played other than Vegas. So they just look solid. I will say I think they've been playing at everyone else's level instead of being kind of like with Green Bay where we're playing kind of above everyone else. They're right next to everyone else, but they're pulling wins, so it doesn't really matter how they play as long as they're getting wins. So
it's boring if we keep picking the same, so I will go against, and I think I'd still pick Fishers either way. So I am going to go with the Freight. Again, we've seen the highs and the lows for Fishers. We see really hot runs, really cold runs. They're kind of in that midst of the cold run right now, or the Freight. I just feel like it can't go long. This is too talented of a team. They have the right pieces. I feel like they've got to get it done at some point. So I am going to go with the Freight here to finally get back to where they should in the Eastern Conference and start pushing potentially to get back towards a home playoff spot. Right now, Green Bay, Jacksonville have a firm hold on those. But Fishers and Orlando will obviously have something to say about it through the end of the week. Let's talk about Orlando as they have a trip out west. Boy, the travel miles are there. They were in Jersey for 8 days or so, and now they're going out west to Tucson. That's going to be a travel and a half, but an Orlando team that is incredibly talented. They've made some changes over the last couple of weeks, personnel-wise. They go out to Tucson that has a new face at quarterback in Jerome Johnson. This is a sneaky good matchup, BJ.
I don't know. We'll see how Jerome fits in. It's his first game with Tucson. He was a little shaky in New Mexico. I think he played to a pretty decent level, but obviously not enough to get them where they wanted to be. But I think Orlando's just too solid. I mean, they looked really good in the Cup game, or the third place Cup game. They were blow for Vegas up until, the third quarter, end of the third quarter. So, I don't know. I like Orlando. They are potentially missing Puka Williams again this week. No official word yet, but they didn't have him again in the Cup. So, maybe not have him this week. Like you mentioned, a lot of travel that can hurt a team. So, I don't know. I think it'll be close, but I'm going Orlando.
All right. I will also go, obviously, it is tough to pick against the Pirates and the talent that they have, but I do caution, I think this could be an interesting game with obviously a lot of travel. Tucson with a new face at quarterback in Jerome Johnson. That could be a really tough running game to slow down. That feels like the issue for the Pirates is trying to find their identity defensively. Can they lock down that run game for Tucson? That is going to be a key for them. I will go with the Pirates. And then a battle in the State 48. Let's go with the Wranglers and the Rattlers. The Rattlers coming off of a blown lead against Vegas in the IFL Cup Championship, and they welcome a Wranglers team that they have not had much pulse about them.
No, I think this is a pretty easy pick. You're on Arizona. Well, Rattlers, I should say, because both Arizonas, right? Rattlers just look good. Obviously, they're going to want to have a get-back game after the Vegas game, and who better than Northern Arizona? No offense to them, but they're not there this year. Not much you can say about them other than that.
I'll go with the Rattlers as well. I will be curious, This was an interesting quote that was mentioned on the broadcast. Kevin Guy saying he's not married to an individual player. He's married to success. He's married to production. Obviously, Drew Powell had the turnover bug in the Vegas game. He turns to Max in the second half of that game. It was kind of the run game that helped Arizona get back into that and give them a chance at the end. I will be curious which direction he goes. I don't see a reason that he would switch quarterbacks again. I think he will stick with Drew Powell to start.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think this is a game that both quarterbacks should get an opportunity to play.
Yeah.
And I will go with the Rattlers to get the win.
Yep.
Let's move into Sunday. We did kind of tease the news before. San Diego, New Mexico. I'm actually going to be on the broadcast for this one. We got the game on Friday in Green Bay against San Antonio, and then I'm making a quick turnaround going to Albuquerque. Really excited for this one. I'm going to abstain from making a pick, obviously the nature of neutrality, but I'll cede this to you. Where do you see in this matchup San Diego a dominant win against Northern Arizona?
I'm going San Diego. New Mexico hasn't really had a spark all year. You lose I shouldn't say lose. You trade your starting quarterback over to Tulsa, who then sends him over to Tucson. And now you just got to figure out what you're going to go from here. Obviously, that 4 seed's still kind of available if you can maybe rattle off a couple wins, but I just don't see New Mexico turning around here.
All right. So that's your pick. The last one of the week. This is Sunday night indoor football. The IFL Cup champions welcome in the Quad City Steamwheelers. Vegas against Quad City. This was flexed into this spot. Quad City backs against the wall, continue to be, and they run into it's just such a tough schedule for Quad City, and especially on the road. Where are you here?
I'm going Vegas. Quad Cities, I believe they're coming off a bye week.
They are.
Okay. Yep. So they're coming off a bye week. Obviously, Vegas, 2 weeks in New Jersey. Maybe they can pull something there. I don't see it. Quad Cities, we've talked about it. We just don't know what's going on with Quad Cities. And, I mean, they beat us, but, where has that been for the rest of the year? So I'm going Vegas. Vegas is just looking so good. I wouldn't be surprised if they, win the rest of the season out. So, yeah.
They didn't look particularly strong against Tucson in their last win either before the bye week. Yeah, it's going to be hard to carry that over after the bye. We were kind of talking about this too. Negative momentum going into a bye is not good recipe when you come back to reset. I mean, obviously you have an opportunity to reset, but I don't know. Vegas is very good. I'm not going to detract anything from Quad City. Vegas is really good. And I'm going to go with the Nighthawks for sure. So that's our picks for the 6 games this week. Finally, let's jump in to this Green Bay San Antonio game. This is obviously new. This is a new matchup. There's nothing to compare it to in the past. West versus East. All you talk about, they are contrasting different style of plays. What is the identity here? Green Bay was able to win low scoring affair in Tulsa, but we've also seen their offense be able to have great success in the past. This is an opportunity against a tough defense. What kind of game do you see this one being?
Ideally, Green Bay, over this bye week, controls the turnovers, right? Liam had 3 picks against Tulsa. We had a fumble as well. The 4 turnovers really kept that game close. If Green Bay only turns over twice, we win by double digits. So it was really a game where Green Bay made their own mistakes. So Green Bay limits the turnovers. We're going against the number 1 defense in the league. I believe they are points per game or whatever. I think it's 34.7 if I remember correctly. So San Antonio's defense got to lock in, try to get those turnovers, and hopefully can score on offense. But Green Bay, as long as our offense limits the turnovers, I think we're going to have a pretty solid win.
Yeah, I think this is a matchup. I kind of alluded to it before. I don't want to use the term trap game, but if the defense for San Antonio is able to take advantage. Obviously, we've mentioned a guy that is a familiar face on that side in Ravarius Rivers. You can't put anything in his area code. You can't put anything in 2 area codes away from him. I feel like those shot plays could be limited with a player like that playing out there in that secondary. This is going to be a week where you're going to have to establish the run. Kyrie Robinson, DeMylan Brown are in that fold. Liam Thompson, obviously a strong running quarterback as well. What can you do to get around that defense? That'll be the key. This is also a big opportunity. We've seen the last 3 weeks before the bye, the Green Bay defense has started to play like Coach Roberson would want them to play as a defensive-minded coach. They're forcing turnovers. They're getting stops when they need be. They're taking advantage of mouse in the house. They got an opportunity to win matchups where they are a stronger team, starting with that group up front. This is. I don't know what this game's going to look like because
it's a new team.
It is a new team.
Yep.
We've seen San Antonio the last couple weeks. We've seen how they want to play. We see how Green Bay wants to play. Green Bay can win a multitude of ways. Brent Stover talked to us on our podcast last week. Green Bay wins pretty. Green Bay wins ugly. What matters, though, is when Liam Thompson can make plays, and he can make plays in both types of games.
Yep.
That is obviously the key. At this point in the season, that is you want to have that quarterback, and Liam has proven to be in that echelon. He is going to be in the conversation for MVP. Again, continue to knock on the nearest surface that sounds like wood for us. Should be in that conversation when we're talking about this in August. Act 2. What are you going to do out of this bye week and going forward? This is starting to become the home stretch. So this is a great way to kick it off. A new face, a new matchup, and a new day. Dairy night, Friday night. I got to say, of all the uniforms that the Green Bay Blizzard have, I think these are my favorite. I mean,
they're very nice.
Military Appreciation's awesome. The Frozen Phoenix ones are awesome. The Star Wars, I got to see those from afar. But the cow print jerseys are so awesome.
They're really nice.
As a born-bred Midwesterner, the cow print jerseys are awesome. So I'm excited to see those back in the fold. Dairy night at the Resch Center, Friday night, kicking off Week 12 between the Blizzard and the Gunslingers. Hope you can tune in. Hope you can be there at the Resch Center. But we'll wrap things up for this episode of the Cold Front Podcast. That is BJ Steffen. I'm Joey Bonadonna. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. And as always, go Blizz.